All right. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We're really thankful that Tunji joined us. He has a sports injury.
Yeah.
He's going to play through the pain. And
Nah, they told me to tell people that I actually was fighting a bear, right? And that it took a swipe at my Achilles. That's what they told me to tell people. It's
yeah,
much cooler.
you're in Tennessee, so
There you
that's a
go.
great place.
There you go. Should see the bear though.
The bear is limping around with
Yeah,
crutches.
the bear is struggling, man.
Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. And thanks for joining us. Always appreciate when restaurateurs join any kind of content we share. We know you have the busiest job in the world. There's a million things you need to be doing. And we appreciate you taking the time to join us. And we hope and strive to make that time really valuable. I'm Brendan Sweeney, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Pop Menu. We've been running Pop Menu for 8 years now, 8.5 years, and it's been a journey and a joy. And some of what we have to share today really comes from, it's kind of a culmination of that experience. So I'm excited about that. Also very excited to have Tunji Jannard with me, the CMO and partner of Steam Boys, a great client of ours. Tunji, you can do your own intro. I'd love for you to share with the people who you are and what you're all about.
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Tunji Jannard. Steam Boys is a concept that my friends and I came up with in 2018. It's Chinese comfort food. What we're trying to do is define and refine the idea of Chinese food, especially in the Southeast United States. Growing up in Nashville, I could go to any Chinese restaurant. They'd all have the same exact like Chinese American style menu. And while I love General Tso's and Kung Pao and all of that, I really do. Once I was able to kind of I lived outside of Chinatown in San Francisco for about 5 years. And once I was able to experience that and deepen my love for the cuisine, I realized, me and my friends realized, this is a gap in the market, at least here in Southeast Nashville and pretty much, I would say probably across the nation too. So we do bao. We focus specifically on bao dumplings, bubble tea, noodle soups, these types of things that are often like afterthoughts on other people's menus. But for us, it's something that I don't know if it's too strong to say, but definitely think we've changed people's perceptions, and some people's lives have even been changed by what we're trying to build. So
I love it.
It's been a great experience.
That's what happens when you devote yourself to extremely authentic soup dumplings, right? People are
Yes.
changed by this.
Yeah, it happens, man. It happened to me, so I can attest.
Awesome. Great. So we're going to start with a poll. I hope we're in position to do this. Yes, we are. Let's start by just getting a feel for how many times you reach out to guests in any way in a month on average, email or text. And that'll give us a good basis for the kind of level of activity the audience is currently doing. What's the answer for you, Tunji?
More than 5 times. If we're talking about a month, definitely more than 5 times.
2 to 3 times. Almost a majority of the audience 2 to 3 times, and definitely a majority 2 to 5 times. And so that's really good. I think we'll encourage more, but it's good to see, because I think one of the common themes I've seen in Pop Menu over the years has been a lot of operators are way more shy than they need to be about reaching out. And so we'll dig in more on that topic, and also it shouldn't be the same message every time. And so we'll talk a bit about that too. Here's what we're going to cover. Projecting your restaurant's growth with a simple formula. I think what's exciting is we have this data based on thousands of our clients at different revenue levels of many aspects of their customer engagement. And so aligned with revenue amounts, you start to see some very clear patterns happen. And it's, for me, the number one takeaway for you today comes from that. So excited to share that. How to strengthen loyalty and really increase that repeat business. How to automate highly personalized marketing messages. Truth is, you don't even have to highly personalize. Light personalization even gets you an order of magnitude increase in performance of marketing messages. And then, as always, if you've been with us on any webinar, it's really important to us to share real world examples and seeing a single location or multi-location, all kinds of different operations. What did they get out of following what we're describing here? And so the first part is this. It's not exactly a formula. It's not exactly scientific, but for me, it's a path forward on what's often a fairly kind of dark, obfuscated path, which is the simple math of growing your restaurant. So again, us working with thousands and thousands of restaurants over the last 8.5 years, the most common question is like, how do I grow? And I think it's a real mystery for most operators. As we see in this data that I'm about to share, it is fairly simple math. And that is, get as many people in your database as possible, message them more often, especially with more personalized offers, and you grow within a location and then grow to additional locations. And so this chart shows, based on several thousand of our clients, and this is actually looking across online ordering, first-party ordering, third-party ordering, on-prem, everything. So this is not just about online ordering. But what we see here is broken into different cohorts based on revenue. So the first cohort, 1 to 1.5 million, which is a very common range for kind of a single location independent restaurant. 1.5 to 3.5, 3.5 to 7, 7 to 10. Within that, there are several hundred restaurants on each of these. And so this is quite a bit of data. I say it's not scientific, but it's definitely statistically significant. And what we see is when we look at the median, just bring it back to my statistics class, the median means half of that group is below this number and half of it is above, so right in the middle. What you see is as you grow through the cohorts and as the top line revenue grows, the number of guests they have in their database keeps going up. TG's a huge believer in this. So the top row is their total database right now. The next row is how many are they adding on a monthly basis. Next is how many mass messages they're sending a month. So with us, you can send mass emails and you have automated emails. And so the mass email is just like any email sending. Of course, we think it's better with Pop Menu, but this is choosing to say, hey, I want to promote a dish or I want to do this thing. I'm going to message the whole list. Automated emails for us are triggered based on behavior or what we know about a client, a guest. And then there's text messages. We left social posts out of here. I'll talk about that in a second, but these for me are the bread and butter of growth. And so very clear here, right? Up and to the right on each of these metrics as you go into higher and higher levels of revenue attainment. And I can tell you that statistics, can be misleading, especially averages. That's why we did median here. But I can tell you that, for example, there is no one in the 3.5 to 7 million or 7 to 10 million cohorts who have like no database and who are not messaging anyone. There are no outliers like that. Of course, it's a little bit biased that these are people within our system. They're obviously wanting to do these kind of activities, but the point is, whether it's correlated or it's causation, these numbers go up as you go to the right. It might seem obvious, but this is something that I think not all restaurants understand the importance of, is building this list and then hitting that list with messages. And the effect is exaggerated on the top quartile. And so top 25%, 75th percentile, whatever you want to call it, when you go above the median and say the top parts of each of these cohorts, the effect is even more dramatic. And you could see, flipping back and forth, like even in the 1 to 1.5 million, the median is 1664 is what people have in their database. But in the top quartile, they're double that. And so you see that over and over that, hey, the restaurants that are doing really well, they are doing a great job of continuously adding people to their database. And they're not shy about asking people to become part of their database. And they are not shy about messaging them. And so then you can see the level of new names getting added to their list per month is continuously higher as you go up the revenue cohorts. The number of messages they're sending, whether it's mass email or whether it's automated, is higher and higher. And the number of text messages is higher and higher. An interesting thing, again, I said it's not in these charts, is social posts is also a part of staying in touch with your guest base. To me, it's a lot more about re-engaging than it is about attracting anyone new. But what's interesting is when you look at the median for each of these, including the 7 to 10 million, the median has 0 social posts. But when you get to the top quartile, it's actually really high. And so what I feel like is emailing and texting is just the blocking and tackling of marketing your restaurant. If you're able to do those and social posting, then it really has an impact. But if you're just relying on social posting, you are facing an uphill fight when it comes to growth. So hopefully these numbers are useful, and hopefully what it really does is illustrate that, hey, I need to, no matter what situation I'm in, I need to add more people in my database and I need to message them more. And so adding people to the database, one of the big things is ask. when you have an interactive menu and website like Pop Menu, we're doing the asking for you. We're offering drawing. Tons of our clients and tons of restaurants that we've all run into are doing, the fishbowl business card thing, and whatever it takes, give something small away, and that's a very low cost per acquisition on a consumer name compared to any other method. But like, we run a contest every month. Yes, by the way, we actually do give away $500 every month to the winner of this, and we've done it for I think 6 or 7 years now that we've been doing that. It's a really effective way to get people in, but also become a VIP, and that messaging can be anything. Join our secret shopper club, join our fantastic whatever club. Like, you can describe that however you want, however makes sense for your brand, but the whole point is ask people and say, if you like us, become a part of this, and you're going to get some kind of special treatment. With Pop Menu, all through the website and all through the menu, especially, all these arrows are pointing at these points where we're allowing people to interact, and in exchange for the interaction, we're getting their contact info. So all of those are super important for just an automatic, no effort capture of guest data. The truth is, there's only a certain amount that comes through this, and most of it comes when you're handling online orders through the interactive site. But when you're in your store, asking is the number one thing you can do. There will always be more people in your store on a daily basis than are on your website. And I feel like table tents, stickers, cards, a QR code, and an offer makes a huge deal in how you're building your list. And so I'll stop now and ask Tunji, like, what are the ways that you and Steam Boys are creatively getting people into your list, and how do you have so many thousands of people in your list?
Man, we do a lot of different things. Some of the best ways are, you've already pointed them out with what you guys have built for us on the site. We actually call our program, and I'm still really like fleshing it out, but we call it the Dumpling Club. Which, like, essentially you join the club and you get all types of like freebies and perks, and obviously funny emails that I like to send out. But like, some of the more creative things that we've done to get people to sign up for our loyalty program, VIP program, the Dumpling Club in store, has been one thing I remember us doing was actually we had like this QR code and a flyer on the table, right? And it was a riddle. And if they could get the answer to the riddle, then they would, when they scanned the QR code, it led them to a landing page that captured first name, last name, phone number, and email. I made phone number optional because I don't know why I'm like this, but I'm just like, I don't want to force them to give me everything, but like, at least email, I need that. It led to that, and if they got the answer to the riddle right, then I would give them a free promo code. But I did all of that just to get them to interact, just to get them to give me their first name, last name, and at the very least email. So I know other restaurateurs that are a lot older than me and have been in the industry a lot longer, and unfortunately I think that mindset that they have is, as they might be from an older generation, they think, well, this is I'm just trying to sell food, like, this is too personal. If I sent an email to my customers, they would get mad. I'm like, no, bro, they won't. Like, if they actually are your customers and they like you, and you have your voice down, how to speak to them, they want to hear from you. At the very least, they want to know if you have something new going on, any promotions. Like, this is in 2025. If you're a business, especially a restaurant, and you're not at the very least sending an email to your customers, unfortunately they will forget about you. Yes, that customer that comes in like, once or twice a month that you can bank on, they forget about you. They do. So you have to send emails to stay top of or just get in contact in some way, stay top of mind for them.
100%. I love the creative approach. Also, you're only giving offers to your smartest customers, which is great.
That's another thing. Like, I'm like, hey, you got to earn this promo code, baby.
That's great. And I think we're showing your site powered by Pop Menu. It's an interactive site, and I think one of the themes that you and I have discussed is, like, there's so much happening automatically in a variety of ways that you don't have to think about. And so in this case, for this topic, it's It's that you are capturing people automatically through the site, that you don't have to do anything for that. Because that's happening automatically, you are able to go and do creative things to capture them. And that is a different capture, right? Like that is not just somebody looking for, I mean, they might be looking for the promo, but they're engaging with you and your brand, and kind of, that's a bit of a give and take. And that is interactive too, just like your site, right?
Yeah. No, they like when I've got this level of like, if people are coming to my site and placing an order and I don't know who they are, that's a problem. That's actually a big part of the reason why we ended up signing a contract with Pop Menu, and the software that you guys have, the product you guys have, has taken care of that part for me. So like now when I go to my business partners, like, all right, man, we're gonna do this crazy interactive story. At the end of it, I'm gonna get an email, but like, yeah, I'm gonna give out promo codes. Like they know that like the simple task of like, well, at the very least, we have one of the largest, at least in my opinion, for what I know, the people I've talked to in the Middle Tennessee area, we have one of the largest email lists ever, and it just grows without me having to do much of anything else. Yeah. So like, I can now go and find even those more, like, because these people that like we're getting their contact info in store, like I'm labeling them because again, Pop Menu now gives me the ability to segment my audience, and I'm labeling them differently. And I'm like, yeah, they might be from this store, but they also are like a riddle answerer or something. So now I can even speak even more targeted to them, and they're going to be my most engaged. They're going to open every email.
Totally. You know? Totally. And that whole idea that, look, we order online from lots of different restaurants. We don't often have a connection with them. Adding that element where they feel like they are connected with your brand definitely makes a difference. And I think the other thing, there's lots of great things that come out of the interactive experience in a restaurant website and in the menu. One of the particular things that's a bonus you get out of that, and that our clients get out of that I think is really important too, is because we made it interactive in a way that allows for really expression at the dish level. And so for every dish, we're making really a web page. You could see that in the permanently scrolling, permanently moving screen on the last one. But there are a lot of benefits that come from that. Number one, SEO. And so bringing search engine optimization down to product detail, the dish detail, has all kinds of benefits, including appearing top of the search when people do a specific search for that dish, which is very uncommon, to get this benefit. But it is also the first step towards understanding how to personalize for people who you don't know. So someone did best dumplings in Nashville search. They click on Steam Boys and come in. They're landing on the dumpling page. And so then they are tagged with dumplings as a dish that they are interested in. And so again, there are a lot of benefits to the interactive menu as it pertains to engaging your guests. Being able to automatically know what dishes they're interacting with and they're interested in is a big one.
Yeah, before you move on, I just wanted to point something out on that slide. Like we're 8 locations right now. The fact that we're showing up, and I do believe we have the best dumplings in Nashville, but the fact that we're showing up number one on top of a spot called Dumpling House, which I know them, and then Hawker's Asian Street Food, which is a national chain, like it's a national brand. It's all over. The fact that we're able to compete in that arena, and I'm the only guy on the team, like I have to do the social media, the email, like everything, and the SEO, like that shows that like being able to have a product like Pop Menu that acts as the SEO function of in my team, like it's huge, because it gives me results like that. Like that is something that 3-4 years ago you'd have to pay a guy like I don't even know how much. I mean, you'd be paying them a salary to get you number one. You know?
And they were probably doing things to achieve that Google found out about, and then kibosh, and then they blacklisted you. And I think a great point though too, just a little side note here. People always ask, well, how do I get in this list, and how do I optimize that? And you can see here, Steam Boys 4.8, Dumpling House 4.3. Well, Hawker's is also 4.8, and they have 8,000 reviews, and you have 269. Part of why this is happening is how we treat that dumplings page, and that's why it comes up high. And also, I will go back and show within the dish page, there's actually direct reviews. And so as reviews are appearing, on the dish page, and as you're responding to them and they're becoming part of it, there it is, right there down the right. These are all signals to Google that this page is live, this information's up to date, it's accurate. There's engagement between, the operator and consumers. These are the kind of signals that tell Google I need to rank this high, even though, like you see, 269 versus 8,000. You are punching up for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Also, this is something that you need to act on it today. It matters today. It's going to matter massively in the very near future. And that is consolidating your guest profiles. What do I mean by that? It is having as singular a picture as you can of your guests, whether they came in through your website, whether they came in through your reservations, your point of sale, whatever it is, bringing all that together. We're already doing it to a degree. Some of our POS partners are sharing consumer data. OpenTable is sharing consumer data. We're consolidating that all. You can imagine a point of view where it's like, this is Tunji. These are the dishes he looked at on the site. These are the dishes he commented on and shared and favorited, things like that. These are the dishes he actually bought from the POS on-prem. And then these are the times he's made reservations and had reservations from OpenTable. Well, when all that stuff is in one guest profile, what happens is instead of only having 0 or 1 point that you can use to personalize your messaging, which all of our data shows makes a massive difference in are they opening and are they clicking the messages. Instead of having 1 point, you might have 7 or 8 data points. Well, now using AI and generative tools to write the copy, you can that makes for a very complex prompt, which is the most important part of AI. So if we have all of these different points, then it's like, just ask ChatGPT to write the offer that is most likely to bring Tunji back into the store to spend the most money. And the more data points you have, the more articulate that is, and the more it feels like one-to-one marketing to Tunji. And so I say that it's where we're going moving forward, because there's not a lot of ways to do this today. Pop Menu is one of them, and there's even less ways to act upon it, but soon that's going to change a lot. So getting all of these different lists together and finding ways to consolidate is just huge for the future.
It's definitely, I think at a certain, we talked about this in Chicago, but at a certain point, building your customer database and really your overall brand and like just your overall database is going to be huge in the future, because the stuff that I'm doing with the little information that I feel like I have now with AI, like I think in the future it's like you just want to set yourself up for that. Like, we may not be there yet, but like when we get there, the people who have spent the time building their audience and understand their audience in a way that they can tell it to an AI agent, the amount of work you're saving now is only going to multiply.
Absolutely. Along those lines, another inside baseball point that's not directly related here, but has been talked about a ton, is the AI snapshots in Google. And so we've had a lot of our clients come to us and say, what are you doing to optimize this AI snapshot? People talk about it in conferences. It's going to be something everyone's talking about. The truth is, everything that we do to structure data the way I just described for SEO is optimizing those AI snapshots. And so just like SEO, there won't be any tricks. In fact, there will be less tricks because there is so much more logic built into how it's setting up those snapshots. But that is also a similar game to this guest profile consolidation, in that the more data you have structured, the more of that structured data you're sharing with Google, the smarter that AI snapshot is, and the more likely that snapshot is to benefit you. And so just another point, that when you have an interactive digital platform like Pop Menu, the fact that the data is so structured helps you in many ways today and going forward. Just sharing a lot of inside baseball today. And so Tunji mentioned his list. You saw the averages there, and 40,000 exceeds the medians. 40,000 exceeds all the medians, for all of those levels of revenue. This is a great picture of how that matters to your business. And so, Tunji, I'd love for you to just go through some of this, like how you're engaging that list and how that's paying off for you.
Oh yeah, man. One of the best things, one of the reasons that I went with Pop Menu is because of, like, especially once I got in there, I thought that there was already a lot of good ways for me to segment the audience, because when we start talking about, like, all right, well, you got to send, like, most people are sending, you said 2 to 5 touch points or emails or whatever it is that they're doing, like a month. Well, I'm more like, how do I send 5 a week? like,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
I can't send you, Brendan, one email a day, 5 emails a week. I can't do that to you. I like you too much, man. Like, I gotta ease up on your inbox. But like, as you can see here, there's a lot of different like automated things that already are happening. Some of the cool things is like, I can go in and say, okay, let me just send an email to people who have ordered online from me 3 times already. And so I can talk to them specifically like that. Or like, let me just send an email to people who actually don't open my emails. And then I mean, with those people, I'm talking reckless, but I'm also giving them like a 50% off, 70% off, because I know that they're not going to open the email. But if they do open the email, now I have to go, that high or something crazy like that to get them to open emails. But like, guess what? Because of the way that this system is built, I know who these people are. And I can adjust my message, and I can take my touch points from 2 times a week, 1 time a week to 3, 4, 5. And this is how you get to those places. And it took me maybe like 6 months before or not even that, like probably 3 months before I realized, whoa, the more emails I send, the more orders I'm getting. I mean, when I first started.
Yeah. I think there's a general, I don't know if it's lack of belief, but maybe a lack of clear understanding of just how related these kind of any impression is with sales. And we forget, like, if we think about our own experiences as consumers of restaurants, we forget how many times a question will come up like, where are we getting pizza tonight? And you might say a name and you don't realize that it was just because just Tuesday you saw a picture of an awesome pizza from one of the 6 or 7 that you frequent. It can be that the last email you saw is going to be the place you choose next. It's not directly related. The attribution's hard, but that's how it works.
Yeah, recency bias is real.
It's real. And what I love about what you just said too, I think this is a big point, that if you're really going to succeed in the restaurant business today, it's really important to embrace this, is that when you said, I'm going to treat the people and I'm going to talk to the people who order 3 times a week from me differently than the ones that I don't know, that's hospitality. That's the beginning of hospitality. Like, hospitality means I'm treating you different based on what I know about you. Otherwise, it's really transactional, right? But when you go to a great restaurant where you've been going for a long time, they know things about you, they anticipate your needs, and they take care of you in a different way because they know you. It starts here. It starts digitally. And so you're already doing it in how you approach them with offers and things like that. Like, I think of the 70% off, that's a customer acquisition cost to really not just get the order, but get to know them better. Yeah. Are they going to become one of those 3 a week? That's a way to get them in. And so I do think embracing that and saying hospitality on prem, I know what that's like. I treat Tony when he comes in differently because I know him and he's come in so many times than someone who's never come in. It is the same when it comes to, marketing to people to get them in or to get them to give an online order.
It's the exact same. I mean, if they're not opening your emails, but if they haven't blocked you from sending emails, either get them to open the email or get them to block you. Like, you like, don't just have them sitting there. It's leaving money on the table.
Yes, absolutely. And we've already gotten into a little bit of this, but I also think there's a bunch of different ways you can get more advanced, and you can not spam people and not make them irritated. And there are some best practices for that. Things like sending texts during a time when people feel like a time window when people feel like it's okay to send texts. You definitely don't want to text someone at 2 a.m. and freak them out. They think somebody in the family's in trouble with the cops. A/B testing is amazing. You do this a lot. I think this is very hard for most operators to make the time for, but it's also very, very important. This is a very startup thing. You might send an email out and say, well, we got no orders from it. That's over. Well, it might have just been something in the headline. It might have just been the visual that was used. It might have been something else. And so I do think testing and having a spirit of testing messaging is really important. Lookalike audiences is something that's a little bit more advanced, but it's like, once you have your list, who your great customers are, you can use those lists to engage people in paid media that look like them, that should act like them. Social, I talked about that when you get to the upper part of the top quartile of restaurants by revenue, it's usually they're emailing. That's the bread and butter. They're texting, and that's more surgical. You have a limited time, limited quantity offer. And then social is something that if you're able to do that on top of the other two and not to the exclusion of the other two, it really makes a difference in your growth. And then tracking what's working, what isn't in real time and acting upon that. I mean, that's just business today. You're not going to keep serving a dish and getting all the ingredients for it together and teaching the team to prepare it and all that if no one's ordering it. The same goes for how you're reaching out to your audience. And so if you send an email, send a text, it's a total dud. You want to learn why, and you want to make sure you don't repeat that error. Tunji, I've told you that I love your social stuff, and I've also loved your text. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how these creative elements you have on the side here work for you. I also love the inflation one. Super topical. How did that one work out for you?
Pretty well, because the weekday lunch combos, what it's actually pushing is something that we've done from day one, but not a lot of people know, because maybe we're not doing a good job in store of getting people to tell them that we have the combos, or they're just not seeing it on the menu for whatever reason. Being able to send like emails and texts, right, that I can then look and see, like, did they click on the offer, or did they, I can get the data back from it. Goes right in line with what you said with the A/B testing, right? One thing that I really enjoy, and I didn't know this was a thing until like this year. I'm not sure when you guys put this into the software, but I can take emails, right, that I've sent, or I can use your automated email system to find, well, one, I can look at emails that I've sent in the past, see how they did, and if it's something that's really good, let's say I sent an email that netted me about $5,000 in revenue over the life of that email, right? I can say, well, that was a pretty good email. Let's tweak it. Let's like make it better, or make it for a more targeted audience, or even a more general audience. And then I can have that on rotation with your automated email program, where it's like spitting that email out to like groups of people every other week or what have you. And I'm taking the email that got me 5,000, making it even better, and now rotating it through my list of people who didn't see that email before, or that weren't on the list before, and I'm squeezing even more juice out of that email. So that's one way that I've really enjoyed it. And then like stuff like being able to send out, I was using other products, right? I was using, when I came to you guys initially, I was using I was just going to say it, Community, to deliver text messages. And one thing with them is like, yes, they're a very good SMS marketing tool, but the costs were kind of crazy, and it doesn't connect to my POS or anything that's going on in the restaurant at all. So when I send a text message, one, I can do it on the fly, which is great. Like if something happens in the local area or in the national, like obviously we all know, I could say this today, I could have said this 2 months ago when I sent this email, inflation everywhere but Steam Boys, and people automatically get what I'm talking about. This was just, I was just sitting there being like, man, what if I sent a text like this? And it ended up working out really well for us. And I didn't have to do anything crazy, but just mention what I had going on in the store already. But it was funny, it was relevant, and I was able to do it with minimal effort, to be real.
And that's a key, right? And I think like this story on the right and other stories you run on Instagram, the way I think about it is the emailing, the texting, your normal social posts, that's about staying top of mind with people. And so ignore the disposition. Like what are you trying to do? It doesn't matter. You're staying in front of them with a message. When you do things like the creative stories, it goes from staying in front of them to how do they feel about you. And so how they feel about you from these stories is, oh, they're creative and they're funny, and I feel the same way as them, and I want my dumplings from them because we're kind of buddies,
we're best pals.
That's right.
That's how I talk to them, man. Our whole thing was always making sure that we're being playful with the customer. I mean, that may not work for everyone, but I know for us that was from day one how we wanted to talk to people.
Right. But if you just did that and all these emails and texts weren't happening, it wouldn't have the impact, right? Like, so doing both is important.
No, yeah, you have to keep at it, hammer away.
Right. And so that's about consistency. And so I want to share our AI marketing product.
Award-winning AI marketing.
Award-winning.
Yeah, award-winning now.
Thank you. That's true. I think it's won a couple. And so And I think, kind of like rightly so, because we also have ROI tools that show how this works. And really the ROI tools came to life when we turned on our AI marketing product. And so what this does is it takes all the data we have in the platform for you, which, of course, is your menus. But with us, there's a lot more. And so your direct reviews that are captured in Pop Menu, your events, your offers, things like that. We take all that data, we look at the next month, and we prioritize all of them, all the data. We bang it off ChatGPT to write all the content, and what comes out is a scheduled, planned, ready to go marketing calendar. It's not a calendar like telling you to send things. It is all set up to go. You can come in and edit. You can come in and change. You can delete if you don't think a thing should be happening right then. Whatever it is, you have the power. But really, it's automatically happening. And so when we look back at the slide with all of the numbers and the number of people in the database and the number of messages, the number one thing that you have to do is be consistent with those. And so what we find is AI, because you don't have to write all the content, because it's creating the whole month for you, you can play an editor-in-chief role instead of having to write every single thing, conceive of everything, do all the ideation, all of that stuff. We found this has really supercharged a lot of our clients' ability to grow, ability to engage. Again, we have ROI tools, we'll show that in a minute, that really let you know that it's happening and that it's working and that it's impacting your business. But for me, this pulls everything together that we're talking about. And if you're not a Pop Menu client today, or if you are a client and you aren't using our AI, our AIM product, I highly encourage you to just get a no pressure demo and check it out, because I think you'll be blown away at what it does. And when it comes to the results of that, so Tunji is a client of AIM. This is one of our ROI tools that lets you know, is it working? We're looking here. I mean, we're just huge believers. Impressions lead to sales. And so the blue chart here is the number of impressions being generated. The orange line is the sales. It is not a coincidence that those trends coincide. And so, Tunji, maybe you can walk us through a little bit of what you've seen in using our AI marketing product.
Yeah, so pretty much, I can't remember when exactly. When did I got it in January. Yeah, I got it in January. And like up until then, I was doing basically all of the work when it came to creating the emails and the social media, all of that stuff. I was doing all of it myself. So as you can see, like there's months like June, July of 2024, and it's like, all right, not as much impressions, huge dip in sales. And then like when I got my energy back up and I was like, all right, I can focus on this. Stuff is going all right in the store, like let me try and focus on doing marketing again. Yeah, I was able to get impressions up and sales went up. And then December hit, and I'm gonna be very transparent, like I wouldn't say it was a mental breakdown, but it was just a tough month, and I just didn't want to do anything. I was like, I can only focus on what's going on in the store in December. So I just was like, you know what, I'm not sending no emails, nothing. I'm not, too much is going on in my life. And look at the dip, look at the slide that I took in terms of sales. So that made me feel even worse. And then, you know what I'm saying? And so then you guys gracious enough let me finally like put me onto the AIM program. And I'm like, okay, I see where this fits into, because although this is probably a good and a bad thing. I like to be very hands-on in the copy, and I used to be a copywriter in an ad agency, so I like to be very hands-on with that brand voice. But what it did for me, and where I realized it fit into my marketing stack, and you're probably about to mention this, is that it like created that base level of things that need to be happening every day when it comes to how I'm creating my marketing campaigns, and it took the pressure off of me. So now, like, I know that, like, well, like, even if, like, when I go into AIM and it's already got my like my month of stuff going on, if there's stuff I don't like, tweak it. And it takes me like, I mean, what used to take me like, oh my gosh, dude, I don't even want to think about it.
Hours and hours, maybe days.
Hours, man. Now it takes me like, now if I sit down and go through the whole month's worth of stuff, it'll take me maybe like an hour and a half, 2 if I'm being really anal about it, you know what I'm saying? But like it would be a process of days. I'd have to break it up. I would never do it for the month. Let me put it that way. I would do it for maybe a week, 2 weeks, but there was no consistency there. And that what I see now is, one, like it's taken the edge off to where I'm like, that's taken care of. Now I can actually be a creative. Like, I like to consider myself a creative, but like when you're sweeping when you're sweeping and cleaning the toilets at the restaurant every day, you don't feel so creative. If that's
Yeah.
especially when that's taking up all your time. But now, like, I know that this base level is taken care of. Now I get to really be creative and really think about those things that help, at least in my mind, get me and my business to where people are looking at our marketing and saying, well, this is some really good stuff. Well, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
because this is taken, this stuff that's wrote is taken care of.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
that's a great point. It's wrote like uh, the tough thing to accept after being sold by agencies and contractors and stuff like that over and over is like, oh, you got to convey your voice and your tone and this and that, and it's like that's like a next level problem. The first thing
yeah,
is put pictures of your food in front of people on a consistent basis. It's a huge part of it, and then reviews, and there's a lot more pieces of content that help form that baseline, but after that is when you start to really convey your voice and tone, which is what you do. And I think this just shows how important consistency is. And the way I think, like, you can look at June and July. June's impressions were down, but the revenue didn't come down immediately, right? And then July they were down again, and then it came down. And so, again, not perfectly scientific, but in general, what we see is kind of like working out. And it's kind of like, if you skip a day or you skip one part of your normal routine, you're not going to immediately go out of shape, right? But if you continuously skip it, your results are going to flatten, right? If you continuously go, and if you're working out every single day, well, the results just keep going up. And so you see that here. And luckily, because you were doing quite a bit in September, October, November, December stayed up. But if you had another month like that, it wouldn't have bounced back like it did in January. And you can see as it gets more consistent, so does the sales line. And so I think that's just all super important stuff. But beyond Steam Boys, here are a few of many examples. Another fresh inside baseball data point. You might like this one, Tunji, is because you haven't heard this. Our AI marketing, I mean, we're sending between AIM, our AI marketing, and like clients sending their own, etc. We're sending about 76 million emails. Well, we did last month. We sent 76 million. And now I'm getting a list. I can see the individual emails sent and individual text sent by our clients and how much revenue did they generate. So this is great. This is, you get to see the aggregate look, but it's incredible to see the highest performing emails. And as of today, we've had, or as of when I looked a few days ago, we've had 850 individual emails that have driven more than $1,000 in ordering revenue, which is awesome.
That's good. That feels so good to see on your dashboard. You're like,
Right.
that email got me $1,000, $2,000. Like that's
Well, check
that's a
that. You
whole
might
day of sales. For some
completely, and you might get competitive over this. But the top 2 emails were from the same client. Obviously, this is AIM, so it's us too.
Yeah.
I don't know if they reworked it. Top 2 emails combined delivered $23,000 in ordering.
Oh my gosh!
So the number 1 was 13. The number 2 is 10,000. It works, and that's not a super massive list. And so look, this just works. These are some examples, and even we'll be sharing more of the individual, like the highest performing. Maybe we'll give an award, for the highest performing emails. They can very easily be $1,000 plus for a single email, and they do. Our highest was 13,000 in ordering revenue that it drove, which is.
All right, you just gave me a new goal. Thank you.
Right. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
Paid ads, this is something we're doing more of this now. We're offering this to our clients because it's not exactly technical, but it's painful enough that it feels very technical. Again, clients have come to us over and over and over saying, how can you help me grow? This is one of the ways where you can capture new people. I just sneak peeked ahead to see if we were sharing these results, but we have seen results in our execution of paid ads for our clients that are, I've been working with Google and AdWords and paid media for 2 decades. I was surprised at some of the results. So we had, as we were testing this product, we had a case where we invested 400 or maybe 600 over a 2 or 3 month period for a client, and they got $8,000 plus in ordering revenue from it. They added several hundred new followers to their list, and they got all kinds, and they also got like 40 something reservations. And so this is something that, because it's hard for restaurants to manage it, there's a lot of opportunity to do it, and it's cost effective. And so this is also something you can go execute on your own, or you can let someone like Pop Menu execute for you. The great thing about executing this as Pop Menu is a lot of times people don't know how to measure the results of their media. Well, when you have Pop Menu, you have every way, because everything they're landing on and everything they're interacting with it's a piece of ROI. And so it's not just the ordering revenue. It's not just, capturing followers. It's not just reservations. It's all of that stuff that we get to measure. So this has been going really well. We'll have a lot more to share going forward as that program really expands. I know we've had a lot of clients pick it up in the past few weeks. Whew, so that's it. These are the takeaways. I mean, we've repeated these, and hopefully they came through loud and clear, but put more people in your list, ask more people, invite them to your list, and message them more, and it's going to work. Fully 2/3 of consumers say they want to hear from you 5 times a week. And so do it. And number 2, consistency is so important. Perfect emails or not, I think we sweat them. I mean, I still do this a little bit. I'm also a writer too. So I want that thing to sound great, but the truth is, the person on the other side, their life is not going to be changed by the email. But when they see the picture of your soup dumplings, they're going to come in and buy them. And then automate whatever you can. And if you can automate and personalize, you are at the top of the game right now. So hopefully all of that has landed. It looks like we have a question, and we're open for more. I don't know if I know how to look at the question.
Hey, Brendan. So the question that Derek had: what has been the best way to get folks to sign up to join your list? A free item or a percentage off? Just curious what works for you.
Thank you for that. And I'm going to let Tunji tell his after. I have to tell you this one because we've been tracking it in Pop Menu for years. I believe it's an item, and I also believe being creative with it is important. And so we have a client in upstate New York that we, as Pop Menu, were like checking in like every day, every week. Like, how is this promo doing? Because early in the business, they signed up more people than anyone, and we were just fascinated by this. And so this pub offered a pickle. And so their Become a VIP offer was join, become a VIP, and get a pickle. And it wasn't just a regular pickle. It was like fried and breaded or something. I mean, it looked kind of better than a normal pickle. But the cool thing was, like, thousands of people became followers in the database from the pickle, but only like 1,000 or a few hundred actually redeemed it. And so your actual cost to acquire that customer into your database, which is something that, DoorDash and Uber Eats and the big marketplaces, like, everything they do is about how can they acquire consumers the cheapest possible. This client did an amazing job of, when you take the cost of actually giving away the pickle, I mean, it was nothing. But they got thousands of people in their database. Do you have something like that, Tunji? Do you think percentage or item or?
No, I mean, I just promised them that they'll get free stuff, and I say it in a very flowery and fun way. But like, I have like, I mean, in the past I've done like, free bubble tea if you sign up for the list, and then like I've automated it to where they would get that free bubble tea once they signed up. But like, for me, I'm gonna start thinking maybe I can give them like one dumpling to sign up, one like special dumpling.
Yeah,
that's what it's what I like about the pickle thing is that it's actually so out of the realm of just, I'm like, wow, that broke through the monotony. I'm signing up because I want that pickle, even though I don't need one pickle, but because you're offering it, I'll take it.
Yeah. And by the way, those hundreds of people who did redeem the offer, they didn't just go get the pickle, right? Like, there's surely a person who's excited about the free pickle is like doing shots or, bar or definitely ordering more food. So I love that one. Yeah. And I don't know if that was.
We got one question here that I really like from Katie. Okay, so Katie asked, if sending that many emails a week, how many unsubscribes do you get? Let me answer that part first. I mean, my unsubscribe rate is, I should look it up, but I know that I usually keep it between, I mean, I like it to be below 1%, I think it might be as high as like 1.2, 1.3. 2% is like a danger zone for me. But like here's the thing about this, because she says after this, I hate getting unsubscribes. What is the normal rate of people unsubscribing? Like I said, keep it under 1%. That's you're gonna be golden under 1%. But like here's the thing I think that Katie, you gotta do is you gotta change your mindset around unsubscribes. While I do get negative feelings and emotions when I see people unsubscribing, I then have to remind myself, like, okay, they weren't my customers. If they are unsubscribing, they weren't my customers. And I'm glad that they're off my email list, because, you know, now I'm like, it helps me whittle down and get closer and closer to my target audience. But here's the other thing. If I'm getting a really high unsubscribe rate, and we've just, you know, talked about sort of like the boundaries you want to be in, less than 1%, anywhere getting above 1.2 to 1.5 to 2%. Well, you know what that tells you is that it's your messaging is off. You're not saying things that they like. So then now you, like, you know, when you see unsubscribes, don't worry about like the fact that like you think you were bothering them. The only people that you're bothering are people who are not your real customers, not your loyal customers. You need to be focusing on your loyal customers. If your unsubscribe rate is high, well, then what you need to think about from there is, well, what am I saying in these emails that is getting people to unsubscribe?
Yeah, great point, man. Very well said. And Katie, I would say we sent 76 million emails last month. Our email provider gives us, you know, all kinds of not just unsubscribes, but bounces, bad emails, stuff like that. I believe is under 1% for that 76 million. Most of that's because it's coming directly from, you know, the brands that they want to interact with. They signed up for it, etc. But also we do a bit of metering to make sure someone doesn't receive too many messages from you. So for me, like, we as the provider need to protect you from, you know, from like going too crazy. We do that with texting. We make sure you can't text during certain hours, stuff like that. So I think I totally agree with Tunji. Don't worry about the unsubscribes, but generally it's very, very, very low. Rudy, what verbiage and structure do you recommend to drive sales with the email? Great question. I definitely think this is a fun, as a writer and as a person who did marketing before I got, you know, more technical, I think I overthink my emails a lot. I'm telling you, the most successful emails we have are very, very short, very, very direct, and they have a visual. And so, and a call to action. And so you've nailed it. Like a bit of text, a great picture, especially of a dish, or it could be something in the atmosphere of your store. It could be people having a good time at happy hour. It could be whatever, but a great visual that's enticing. And then a call to action. That's it. Even those social things at the bottom of every email, people just do that because they think it looks cool to have all those different logos. No one cares. No one clicks on those. That's going away from your site. Don't even care about those. I definitely think just the clear headline, the visual, a tiny bit of text, call to action, and you're good to go. Also, Rudy, the free item, should you do it 100% free or make it with a purchase? I think if you do some math on what a guest is worth to you and how much you're willing to spend to acquire somebody, that'll answer that question for you. And so how many dollars are you putting towards getting someone in your database depends on how much do you think lifetime you're going to get from them. For the most part, I think you're going to find it's trivial either way. And so if you are, you know, if you're cost conscious, make it with a purchase. If you really want to grow, I would say, you know, make it 100% free.
Maggie has a good one here that I think it might have been misconstrued earlier, so I'd like to kind of clear that up. So Maggie says, yes, you said customers say don't mind up to 5 times a week contact. So what I actually meant was I'm looking at my list, and obviously I'm breaking it down and segmenting it. So I would say most of the customers on my list, majority of them are getting touched maybe 2 to 3 times a week at most. But like I'm sending emails up to 5, 6, almost 6 times a week. And I'm, you know, some of these people, like when I say 5 to 6 times, they're not like everyone on the list isn't getting 5 emails from me a week. I'm sending 5 emails, but I'm sending them to different people to make sure that I'm not overwhelming people. So like I said, I think the most if you're on my list, the most you would get from me is probably 3 emails a week. Yes, and maybe I think she maybe citing a stat that I gave, and I think I may have said it wrong. I think it's it is 2/3 of consumers say they want to hear from you 5 times a month, and so that's just, you know, that's a vast majority, and so lots of people are okay with
with more, and some are okay with less. And so great questions, though. And I think these are things to dig into, and it's also about your client base. If you're fine dining and it costs hundreds of dollars to come, and see you, I definitely wouldn't be messaging those people multiple times a week. You want to get them in once or twice a month. That's probably the maximum they can. Great. And we're just wrapping up. Akindele, I hope I said that right.
Akindele Bankole, it's a Nigerian name.
That's right. and possibly Yoruba, I don't know.
I would say so.
Yep. My opinion is a picture every single time. A picture every single time. We're visual animals. Pictures make a huge difference. It's a big part of why we started Pop Menu. We wanted to make it easy for every single dish to have a photo if you want. And I just think it conveys so much, just one picture, and allows you to have very little text. So I think that's my opinion on that. Rudy, I think if you are a client, you should get in touch with your account rep. If you're not yet a client, get a demo, but either one of them can really give you more about automatic emails. We're not really doing automated emails to segments yet, but it is very much in flight. And so I think, if you can spend a little time with someone from Pop Menu, you'll get real detail about what you just asked there. And maybe we can finish with the last one to you, Tunji.
How long did it take before it became clear that the content and marketing was really working? Man, one business quarter. And the reason for that is, before being on Pop Menu, we did not have a end-to-end pipeline that I could say, like, all right, well, I sent this email and did this text, and this is the amount of money I got back from it. But like, once we got with Pop Menu, now I'm able, everything talks to each other. The website, the marketing, it all talks to each other. So I was able to like just see that over the course of 3 months, I was like, okay, I do these actions consistently over the course of 3 months, and the line keeps going up and to the right. So that's a good thing. Now, like, when you say really working, well, I figured out it was working. At that point, to me, it was just a matter of, well, how do I amplify this and take this to the next level? And that turned out to just be do it more.
Awesome. We got to wrap it up. Thanks everyone for staying so long, and thanks for the great questions. Tunji, is always just a pleasure. You make doing this so much easier, and I know bring a lot of what we do to life, besides also, what you do besides us is top notch. So thanks so much for your time. Thanks for sharing all your thoughts, ideas, experiences, and always keeping it real. And I look forward to going to the game next year when Arsenal win the Prem. And so you and I are going to do that.
Let's go.
So again, thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate it, and talk to you soon. Thanks.
Yep. Bye, guys.